Welcome back to part 2 of the World of Warcraft board game of Horde vs Alliance. This is where the Alliance's turn ended in round 2, and now it is Horde round 3. Grumbaz uses his first action to move to Stillwater Pond. He then uses a training action to get Battle Shout, Heroic Strike, and Rend for 7 gold. Liam takes his first action and moves to Stillwater Pond. He then uses a training action to get Immolate and Shadow Bolt for 5 gold. Then Zauka takes her first action and moves to the Bulwark. She then challenges the Ghoul there. She needs to roll 6s because the threat level is 6. She gets to roll 2 red dice, 1 blue, and 1 green. She ends up rolling 1 hit but cannot re-roll any dice because of the Ghoul's special ability. We end up placing the blue hit into the damage zone, and then the Blood Fury gives 1 attrition. This is unfortunate because the Ghoul still gets to attack for 3. Zauka is defeated and goes back to Brill and starts back with 1 health and 1 energy. She is super behind now. The risk was worth it though, because if she defeated the Ghoul, she would have leveled up, got gold, and some items, but now she's behind. End of the round, Liam equips Shadow Bolt and Immolate. Grumbaz equips Battle Shout, Heroic Strike, and Rend. The round marker goes to turn 4, and an event card is drawn. We draw Foul Plague Winds. If a character is in any region in the Eastern or Western Plague Lands, he must spend 1 energy before taking a travel action. While this card is in play, every blue creature in the Eastern or Western Plague Lands rewards 2 experience when defeated. Remove this card immediately when there are no blue creatures in both the Eastern or Western Plague Lands. These are the Eastern Plague Land areas, and these are the Western Plague Lands areas. This effect is really brutal for both factions. Currently there are only 2 ghouls right now, but if this is not dealt with, more blue independent creatures will be added, and this problem will increase. This is what the end of round 3 looks like. Alliance starts round 4 and Brebo uses Expansive Mind to get 1 energy. I probably won't show this every time, but I just want to show that I will be keeping up with this. Brandon uses his first action to fight the Gnoll in Sorrow Hill. He needs to roll 4s because the threat level is 4. He gets to roll 2 red dice and 2 green dice. He ends up rolling 2 hits, but he does have 2 re-rolls. He ends up landing 2 more hits. This ends up putting 2 defense tokens and 2 hit tokens inside defense and 1 token into attrition for Seal of Righteousness. The Gnoll's attack of 3 does no damage. The damage shifts up into the damage zone and is enough to defeat the 3 health of the Gnoll. The quest rewards 1 gold, 4 experience, the best of 2 white items, and then 1 white item. Brandon has to choose between the Trog Club and the Sky Color, but he automatically gets the Dull Blade. He ends up choosing the Sky Collar to trade to Brebo later because he just got a weapon with the blade. He gains 4 experience to reach level 2. He now gets 5 health and 4 energy and gets to regain all of it up to the new maximum. He then has to pick a level 2 talent. He has between Improved Devotion, Holy Shield, and Improved Righteousness. He chooses Holy Shield because he's going to end up being the healer and the tank of this party. They end up choosing a new green quest, which is Shades of Sorrow. He then uses his second action to move to Sofera's Naze, which costs him 1 energy because of Foul Plague Winds. Next up, Brebo and Bourbon challenge the Murloc at Quell Daniel Lodge. They need to roll 5s because the threat level is 5. Bourbon decides to go first. He gets to roll 3 dice, 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 green. He misses on all 3 dice. Brebo gets to go next and gets to roll 2 blue dice and 1 red dice. He ends up rolling 1 hit, but he also loses 1 health for the Murloc special ability. We place the 1 hit on the defense track, and then we use our robes to add a defense to the defense track as well. The Murloc ends up attacking for 5, minus the 2 defense in the defense track. We have to receive 3 damage. Bourbon decides to get fainted. and chooses to resurrect at Airy Peak with 1 health and 1 energy. Brebo goes again and gets to roll 2 blue dice and 1 red dice, and happens to land 2 more hits. We placed the 2 blue dice into the damage track, and then earlier we forgot to shift the damage from the defense to the damage track, so we do it right now. This is 1 damage short from defeating the Murloc, so the Murloc gets to attack and Brebo gets defeated. He chooses to resurrect at Airy Peak with 1 energy and 1 health. The round marker turns to turn 5 and adds a white item to the market, which is Lay Staff. This is what the end of round 4 looks like. The Horde start round 5 with both Grumbaz and Liam fighting the Gnoll in Stillwater Pond. They need to roll 5s because the threat level is 5. Grumbaz gets to roll 2 red dice and 1 green dice. He ends up rolling 2 hits and then decides to use 1 energy on Ren to turn that 4 into an 8. We then place 1 defense token and 2 hit tokens inside defense and then 1 attrition from Blood Fury. Liam gets to go next. He's going to roll 2 red dice and 1 blue dice and save his energy. He ends up getting 2 hits. We place the 2 damage tokens into the defense track. The Gnoll then gets to attack for 5, but we have 5 defense, so we receive no damage, and then all the damage shifts over and is enough to defeat the Gnoll. There are no rewards for defeating blue creatures, which are independent, and anytime anyone is on a space with a blue creature, they have to use their next action to challenge it. Next up, Grumbaz and Liam challenge the Murloc in Stillwater Pond. They need to roll 5s because the threat level is 5. Grumbaz goes first and gets to roll 2 red dice and 1 green dice. He ends up rolling 2 hits. We place 1 defense token and 1 damage token inside of defense, and then 1 in attrition for Blood Fury. Next up is Liam. He gets to roll 2 blue dice and 2 red dice. He ends up rolling 3 hits. We add 2 more damage tokens to defense and 1 more damage token to damage. The Murloc attacks for 3, but it does no damage to them. We shift all of the damage to the damage track, which is way more than enough to defeat the Murloc. They earn 7 gold, so Grumbaz gets 4, Liam gets 3, and they both each get 2 experience and level up to level 2. Grumbaz now gets 6 health and 2 energy and gets to refill it, and he gets to choose a talent. He can choose between Cruelty, Improved Heroic Strike, or Anger Management. He decides to pick Cruelty, which allows you to change the result of up to 2 separate red dice up by 1 number each, just to be more consistent. Liam got to level 2, which gives him 3 health and 6 energy, and he gets to refill all of it, and he gets to pick a talent between Fell Stamina, Demonic Embrace, and Improved Shadow Bolt. He ends up choosing Improved Shadow Bolt to be more DPS focused. Next up, Zalka is really hurt, so she uses a rest action inside of a town to recover up to 3 health or energy. She gets 2 health and 1 more energy. She uses her last action to move to Brightwater Lake to get ready for next round. This is out of order, but the Horde choose another green quest, which is Dark Hills, Dark Hearts. The round tracker moves to round 6, but nothing special happens. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 5. At the start of round 6, Brebo and Bourbon use a town action to heal up a little bit and to purchase some skills. Bourbon purchases Scorpid Sting and Hunter's Mark for 5 gold. Brebo purchases Fireball, Frostbolt, and Arcane Intellect for 7 gold. Better prepared, they move back to Quell Daniel Lodge to face the Murloc next round. Next up, Brandon is going to challenge the Ghoul at the Dalaran Ruins. He needs to roll a 6 because 6 is the threat level. He gets to roll 2 red dice and 2 green dice. He ends up rolling 2 hits. He adds 1 defense token and 1 hit token to the defense section, and he adds 2 attrition from Seal of Righteousness and his talent that allows him to spot 1 8 green to heal 1 and add 1 attrition. The Ghoul attacks back for 4, minus the 2 defense in the defense section for 2 health, and then everything shifts up and is enough to defeat the ghoul. The round tracker moves to round 7, and an event card is drawn. We draw professions and crafts. Each character may immediately regain any mix of energy or health equal to his level, or each character may immediately gain an amount of gold to his level. Also, that blue plus on the bottom means we will draw another card after this resolves. Zalka grabs a gold, Liam gets 2 gold, and Grumbaz gets 2 gold. Brandon grabs 2 health, Bourbon grabs 2 health, and Brebo grabs 2 health as well. The next event is Auction House. Characters must bid for the following action item: Boots of Endurance. During every travel action, the owner of the Boots of Endurance regains 1 energy. Boots of Endurance is a soulbound item. When the owner of this item is defeated, discard this card. It also has the blue symbol, so we're going to draw another event after this. Here are all of the bids I made for all the characters, and here's the logic I went through. So the first thing is Liam actually has the most gold. He has above 3 gold, so he's going to bid 4. He's going to guarantee the item goes to his side, and he uses energy, so it's very good. Brandon, the paladin, has to bid 1 gold just in case if no one else bids. You should always do that. You don't lose any gold that you don't bid. And then we have Bourbon, who wants to bid all of his gold in case if Liam decides not to bid 4. So he just has to give it a shot. And then we have Grumbaz bidding 2, kind of thinking like he wants to bid, but he doesn't want to bid 1. He wants to bid a little bit extra. Same thing with Zalka, bids 2, just in case if someone else is bidding 1. And then Brebo, who really wants this item, has 0 gold right now, so can't bid anything. So Liam wins the item. This is a very strong item, but now he has to be careful because he is now a target for PvP, and he also has to be careful with his challenges with monsters. The next event drawn is Goblin Zeppelin. Starting with the character that has the fewest experience, each character may relocate to any region containing one of their faction's flight paths and no enemy characters. This event card also has a blue plus symbol, so we will draw another event after this. Zalka has the lowest experience, so she flies to Pestilent Scar, which is important because now the Alliance members can't go here, so her team members join her to get ready for a good quest right over here. None of the Alliance members use this ability. They are set for their next turn. The final event card drawn is Subterfuge. Each faction may complete any enemy quest as if it were their own. If completed, they are rewarded 1 fewer experience than is stated on the quest card. After one faction has completed an enemy quest, the faction owning the quest must then replace it with a new quest card from a quest deck of their choice, then discard this card. This is a very good card for both factions. Now they can keep track of monsters that normally they can't challenge. Also at the end of the round, Bourbon equips Hunter's Mark as well as Scorpion Sting, and Brebo equips Arcane Intellect, Frostbolt, and Fireball. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 6. At the start of round 7, all the Horde members move to Tyr's hand to start a challenge against 3 Scarlet Crusaders. They need to roll 5s because the threat level is 5. She gets to roll 2 red dice, 1 green dice, and 1 blue dice. She ends up getting 3 hits and uses her reroll to get 1 more hit. She places 1 defense token and 2 hit tokens in the defense section. The blue die adds 1 hit token to the damage section, and she gets 1 attrition from Blood Fury. Next up is Grumbaz. He gets to roll 3 red dice and 1 green dice. He gets 3 hits and then uses his reroll, which still makes him miss on the die, but then he uses Cruelty to increase the 4 to a 5. We then add 3 more hit tokens and 1 more defense token to the defense area. We also add 1 more attrition for Blood Fury. Next up is Liam. He gets to roll 3 blue and 2 red dice. He only gets 1 hit, but then decides to use Immolate to turn the 4 blue die into an 8. He then uses 3 rerolls, which only adds 1 more hit. We now add 2 blue hit tokens to damage and the 1 red hit token to defense. The 3 ranged damaged kills 1 Scarlet Crusader before it attack back. We then block all 8 damage with our defense tokens. Then all of the damage shifts up, and 8 damage is more than enough to finish off the 6 health for the 2 Scarlet Crusaders remaining. They now get to split 10 gold, 7 experience, the best of 2 white items, another best of 2 white items, and then choose a Cannonball Runner or Cowl of Heroes. Zauka gets 4 gold, Liam gets 3 gold, and Grumbaz gets 3 gold. Zauka gets 3 experience, Liam gets 2, and Grumbaz gets 2. But because Zauka was under leveled, she gets 1 bonus experience, which allows her to get to level 2. She now has 4 health and 5 energy and gets to regain all of it, and has to choose new talents between Improved Healing Wave, Elemental Focus, and Improved Rock Biter. She ends up choosing Improved Healing Wave because no one else can heal, so she wants to focus on that. They have to choose between Cannonball Runner and Cowl of Heroes. They end up choosing Cowl of Heroes and give it to Liam. Grumbaz draws 2 white items, Archer's Buckler and Robe of Apprentice. He chooses Archer's Buckler. Zauka has to choose from 2 white items, Footman Tunic and Fine Longbow. She chooses Footman Tunic. The Horde choose a yellow quest, which happens to be Rumbling on the River. Last up, Grumbaz equips Archer's Buckler, Liam equips Cowl of Heroes, and Zauka equips Footman Tunic. The turn marker turns to round 8, and a white item is added to the market, which is Robe of Apprenticeship. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 7. Round 8 starts, and the first thing that Brebo and Burbo do is fight the Murloc. They need to roll 5s because the threat level is 5. Bourbon gets to go first and gets to roll 2 blue dice, 1 red dice, and 1 green dice. He ends up rolling 3 hits. He then uses Hunter's Mark to increase the 4 to 5. He then spots a 7+ blue die, rolls another, but it's a miss. Next up is Brebo. He gets to roll 4 blue dice, a red, and a green. He ends up getting 3 hits. He ends up re-rolling 1 dice and gets a hit. So from both characters, we get 5 blue damage hit into the damage section, and then we get 2 green dice in defense and 1 red dice hit in defense as well. This is more than enough from the blue hits to take out the Murloc. They now get to split 10 gold, 4 experience, the best of 2 white items, and then they just get a white item. Brebo gets 5 gold, and Bourbon gets 5 gold as well. They both get 2 experience, but because the quest was a level higher than them, Bourbon happens to get an extra experience, and they both reach level 2. Bourbon now has 4 health and 5 energy, and he gets to regain all of it, and has to choose a talent between Lightning Reflexes, Efficiency, and Precision. He ends up going with Efficiency to make sure he can challenge more monsters and take less rest actions. Brebo is now level 2, which has 3 health and 6 energy, and he regains all of it, and he has to choose a talent between Winter's Chill, Ice Block, and Arcane Focus. He goes with Arcane Focus to be more consistent with his rolls. Bourbon draws 2 white items, which is Soldier's Armor and Soldier's Armor. He chooses Soldier's Armor. Brebo draws a Bastard Sword, which he gives to Bourbon because he just completed an action and he can trade. The Alliance chooses a new yellow quest, which happens to be Alone in the Wild. Next up, Brandon takes his first action to challenge a Gnoll in Dalaran Ruins. He needs to roll 4s because the threat level is 4. He gets to roll 4 dice, 2 red and 2 green. He rolls 1 hit. He does get to reroll 3 dice, which gets him 2 more hits. We add 1 defense token to the defense box and 2 hit tokens to the defense box, which is enough to block all 3 damage from the Gnoll. We also get to add 2 attrition, one from our talent and the other from Seal of Righteousness. We then shift all of the hits into the damage box, which is more than enough to take out the Gnoll. Brandon now gets 6 gold, 5 experience, a white item, and another white item. He did get 1 experience penalty for being higher than the quest level. The Alliance agree upon another green quest, which is Serpents in the Lake. Brebo and Bourbon move to Hillsbard Fields. Brandon joins them, and they do a bunch of trades. Bourbon gets Laminated Recurve Bow, Brebo gets Neophyte Robes, and Sky Color. and Brandon gets Soldier's Armor. End of turn, Brandon equips Soldier's Armor, Brebo equips Skycolor and Neophyte's Robe, and Bourbon equips Laminated Recurve Bow. The round marker moves to turn 9, and nothing special happens. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 8. At the beginning of the round, Grumbaz has to rest to get some energy because of the card Foul Plague Winds. He can then use the waypoint to go all the way to North Tide's Howl. Then Liam uses a training action to learn Corruption for 6 gold. He then joins Grumbaz at North Tide's Hollow. Zauka also uses a training action to get Earthshock for 5 gold. She too joins Grumbaz and Liam at North Tide's Hollow. At the end of the round, Liam equips the Corruption, and Zauka equips the Earthshock. The round marker turns to round 10, and an event card is drawn. The card drawn is New Horizons. Each faction may choose to discard one of their current quest cards and replace it with a new quest card from a quest deck of their choice. Any green and red creatures spawned by discarded quests are removed from the board. After this resolves, because it has the blue plus symbol, we'll draw another event. The Horde remove a Darkness and Brightwater because they aren't going to go to Brightwater like anytime soon. They decide on another green quest, which is Shadows of War. The Alliance decide to get rid of their Shades of Sorrow quest, which is a huge deal because all of the Horde just collected at North Tide's Hollow, and they were going to use Subterfuge to take out that monster. The Alliance agree on another green quest, and they get City by the Sea. The next event is the Beasts of Lordaeron. Starting with the current faction, each faction may move one group of blue creatures up to 2 regions. Continue moving groups of blue creatures in this way until both factions have each moved 2 groups of creatures. The same group of blue creatures may not be moved twice, and creatures may not end their movement in a region containing any of the following: enemy characters, blue creatures of the same type, or faction starting regions. Also, there's a blue plus here, so we will draw another event after this resolves. The Horde go first and move the spider over to Airy Peak, so whenever the Alliance uses Flight Point, they have to use their next action to challenge this spider. The Alliance go next, and they move a Scarlet Crusader to Pyrewood Village, because this quest is already out of the way for the Horde, and then this wastes another action because they have to get through the Crusader first. The Horde then move a Scarlet Crusader to Corrin's Dagger. This is to block the path all the way up to these next 2 quests that the Alliance looked like they were going to work towards. The Alliance then move 2 Murlocs to the Sepulchre. This is just kind of to keep the Horde in one area, and they're contained, and they have to fight blue independent creatures to get out, which is a waste of actions. We then draw Arcane Corruption as an event, which is a special Kel'Thuzad event. If Spread the Plague is in play, all characters within 8 regions of Kel'Thuzad lose half their energy. Otherwise, all characters within 4 regions of Kel'Thuzad lose half their energy. He is right over here in Stratholme, so no one gets affected. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 9. The Alliance start round 10 with Brandon and Brebo fighting the 2 Gnolls at Hillsbard Fields. They'll need to roll 4s because the threat level is 4. He gets to roll 4 green dice and 2 red dice. He ends up getting 5 hits. He uses his reroll and gets 1 more hit. We place 4 defense tokens in the defense section, 2 hit tokens in the defense section, and there's 2 attrition. 1 from the talent for spotting a 7 or 8 on a green die, and the Seal of Righteousness. Brebo is next and gets to roll 3 blue dice, a red, and a green. He ends up getting 4 hits. We add 3 damage tokens to the damage track, we add 1 hit token to the defense track, and we add 1 attrition from the wand. The range damage is enough to eliminate 1 Gnoll. The other Gnoll attacks back at 3, but we have 7 in the defense, so we take no damage. And then all of the damage shifts up, and it's more than enough to finish off the last Gnoll. They get to split 8 gold, 4 experience, the best of 2 white items, and then another best of 2 white items. Brebo gets his 4 gold, and Brandon gets his 4 gold. They each get 2 experience, which levels up Brandon to level 3. He now has 7 health and 5 energy and regains all of it, and has to choose a new talent. He can choose between Reckoning, Improved Might, Mace Specialization, Improved Devotion, and Improved Righteousness. He chooses Reckoning for some consistent extra damage. Brebo then gets 2 white items. He has to choose between Crocolisk Stake and Cadet Vest. He chooses Crocolisk Stake. Brandon then needs to choose between Bent Staff and Minor Mana Potion. He takes Minor Mana Potion. He trades the potion to Brebo right away. The Lions grab a new green quest and get Prospects of Wealth. Brandon uses his second action to train Hammer of Justice and Blessing of Might for 8 gold. Brebo uses his second action to train Arcane Missiles for 7 gold. Bourbon uses his first action to train Bear for 7 gold, and then uses his last action to move to Corn's Dagger for next round. At the end of the round, Bourbon equips Bear and Bastard's Sword. Brebo equips Arcane Missiles, and Brandon equips Dull Blade, Hammer of Justice, and Blessing of Might. The round marker moves to turn 11, and a white item is added from the marketplace. The item is Minor Agility Potion. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 10. Both sides are looking pretty good. I don't see a clear advantage on either one. This will be to be continued.